Hello and welcome to the Thank You for Knitting YouTube channel. This is episode number 19 of the podcast. My name is Alana and I'm a yarn shop owner and knitwear designer living in Auckland, New Zealand. So it's been a few weeks since my last episode, so it felt like it was time to do another one. However, I do think this will be a short and sweet episode because I haven't done as much knitting over the last couple of weeks. I was in Australia for about a week and a half and I don't knit while I'm there, so there was that. And also my thumb has been a bit sore. I think from knitting probably. It's felt a bit hyperextended or something, and it's probably a repetitive stress thing from knitting because I feel it when I knit, so that's also made me knit a little bit less. And it's just, it's December, it's the lead up to the holidays. It always just feels busy this time of year, so I haven't had as much time to knit. So I just wanted to do a check-in anyway. It feels like it's time, but like I said, I don't have a lot to show. I do have a couple of finished objects and I have a little bit of progress on some of my projects. Before I get into all that, I do want to say, if you have followed me for a little while or you've seen me from last year, I normally do a frogger finish at the end of every year, where I try to finish out the year and have all of my projects either frogged or finished so that I can start the new year with a fresh slate. However, last year I ended up pushing my frogger finish into January, I think because we were overseas maybe, and it just wasn't quite the right timing in December. And I feel exactly that way again this year, so I might start to move this tradition to January. Here in New Zealand, here for us for sure, we are running our business right up to Christmas. And then most businesses shut down for at least 2 weeks, some shut down for even 4 weeks. Everybody goes away on holiday, and the first half of January is usually pretty dead. So December is this kind of flurry of activity and busyness, and then January is like pretty quiet and pretty dead. It's also the middle of summer here, so people are just on the beach. January is very quiet, so January actually seems like the perfect time to do a frogger finish. And particularly for me this year, we've got friends coming to visit us from overseas. We're doing a little bit of traveling during that time, and then we're also just wrapping up the year here at the shop, so we're busy here. So all of that is me saying that it is December, but I am not doing frogger finish until January this year. That's the plan. So I'll check in with you about that in January. I might even do a separate video just to kind of track my frogger finish progress. But in the meantime, I'm doing a couple of last minute gift knitting, and it's just, I am so unmotivated right now to do the frogger finish, and I don't really feel that I have the time to sit down and take an inventory anyway, so here we are. Before I talk about my projects, I will tell you what I'm wearing. This is my Collett Tee. It is a pattern by Witre Design or Witre Design or however you say that. I'll put the name on the screen and I'll also put a picture of the pattern on the screen. I do think I modified this a little bit. I don't know if the original has a double folded neckline. I think it might just be a single neck, but it is meant to be a high neck. And it's like a contiguous sleeve shaping, which is very flattering, I think. I have modified this a little bit in that I did not do ribbing on the sleeves. I wanted just a raw edge. I thought it looked nice. And then I would have showed you this project last episode because, like I said back then, I knit this in 2021, but I knit it too short and I just never wore it for 3 years. It just sat there. Then a couple weeks ago, I pulled it back out, knit a few more inches on the bottom, and now I'm happy with it and I'm wearing it. So the yarn that I used was the Holst Coast, which is their wool and cotton blend. And we don't have that yarn in the shop, but the closest thing we do have, which is actually super similar, is we carry BC Yarn BioBalance, which is also a nearly half-half wool cotton blend. So that would be a really good substitute. And I held 2 strands together for this project. So that is what I'm wearing. I'm very happy with this. It's a little bit of warmth because of the wool. So I don't know that I would wear this in the absolute heat of summer, but it's working for me right now, for sure. Okay, on to the knitting. So I have a couple of finished objects. The first one is a project that I showed you last week, which was the extra long fingerless mitts that I was making for a friend. And I was using my driftless mitts pattern, but I didn't use the color work that's in that pattern. I instead just did color blocking with 7 different colors of greens and blues that all kind of moved from color to color. And I think they ended up really, really pretty. I gave those to my friend while we were in Australia, so I don't have them with me to show, but as promised, I did take a decent photo, so I will insert that photo on the screen so you can see how those turned out. I think that they are really pretty. She was happy with them. I used almost entirely possum merino yarns from my stash, so they're super soft and fuzzy and lovely. So yeah, I was very happy with that project, and she was happy, and yeah, I think I said this in the other video, but my driftless mitts pattern is shorter. The mitts only go to maybe here. I made these go all the way to her elbow because that's what she was requesting, was an extra long pair. And I ended up adding a couple of increase rounds. I believe there were, let's see, 3 or 4 color blocks on this section, and I added 2 increases on each color block. So increase, increase, increase. So I probably increased by 6 or 8 stitches total. And that was a good fit for the forearm. But yeah, that's my first finished object. Extra long fingerless mitts. Okay, my second finished object is one that you haven't seen before because I started it on November 13th. Wow, has it been that long? And yeah, this was a cute little project that I decided to make for the shop. The plan is to make this into a little kit that we can actually sell, although time is racing by, but the plan is to write this up into a little pattern that I can put out there. And all I have to do is so let me just show you. So the purpose was to create a little pattern with a couple of different Christmas themed ornaments. So I have three different items in this little ornament pack. If I put it out as a pattern, which I hope to, it'll just be a pack of 3 items in one pattern, if that makes sense. So the first one is this little tree, which I think is very cute. So we just have these like garter ridges, and I just embroidered at the end these little dots. Super cute. And I stuffed it with a little bit of stuffing, and then you can just hang it like that. So we have the cute little tree, and we have the little stocking. Super cute. So same thing, I embroidered the little star at the end, which is, you know, optional, but I'll try to give instructions on how to do that. And so those are the first 2. And then the third one is a little angel, which I just have to sew on. This is a little felt ball, which I plan to sew on for the head. And then this is the angel. I hope you can see it properly. So I just used a single strand of mohair for the wings to make them sort of ethereal looking. And then I've used 8-ply yarn for all of the other items. So everything is done on a 4mm needle, super easy, 1 needle. And everything is in DK weight yarn other than the mohair. And then we just need little felt balls, oops, I dropped that, to put on for the head. So if I get my act together and we actually get kits out in time, we'll bulk order a bunch of the little felt balls for the head so that the pack comes with everything you need, including the head for the angel. So yeah, I'm really happy with these little guys, and fingers crossed I get the pattern written up and maybe we even get kits sorted in time. If we don't get kits sorted in time, you know, you can use scrap yarn, you can use almost anything, mohair for the wings, and then just a few colors of 8-ply yarn, and then you just need a little bit of stuffing for the tree. But those are I called it Vintage Christmas Ornament Pack. I don't know if that'll be the name, but I don't know. I feel like I'm getting a little bit of a vintage vibe from these, so happy with those. And I did one more Christmas item. So this is another one that I hope to write up the pattern for soon. Time is racing by, but hopefully I will do that. And this is for a hot water bottle cover. So the yarn that I used is the Spinning Yarns Weaving Tales Dewish yarn that we carry here. It's the same yarn I showed you last time in my Felix sweater that I knitted. And it's considered a DK or worsted weight yarn, I think, but it's woolen spun and it's in the oil, and when you wash it, it blooms a lot. And I would have showed you with my Felix sweater, I knit that on a 6mm needle and it really filled in the gauge. So I thought that it could work for this gauge. So I was going based off the maths I did for a hot water bottle cover I made for my brother last year in kind of a bulkier weight on a 5.5mm needle. And I decided that this yarn would hopefully work because it kind of fills in the gauge, like I said. So I got 3 colors of the Dewish, and I rewrote the chart because the one I made for my brother had 4 colors. So I ended up kind of rewriting the whole chart to make it suit 3 colors. And this is it. This is my hot water bottle cover. So I blocked it. I washed it, and then I blocked it just on this actual hot water bottle. I haven't even taken it off yet, but so far I'm happy with how it's looking. The gauge just seems good. The color work seems fine. Like I said, it's on a 5.5mm needle. I only had 1 skein of each color, and I barely used any of the middle 2 colors, and I mostly used this teal color, but there's still a fair bit left over. Possibly enough to make another hot water bottle. We'll have to weigh it. But this is another one where I will potentially make a pattern if I can. It took me, just a few days really of knitting. It's quite quick. And I think it would be a really cute gift to make for someone for Christmas. You kind of fold the top over like a little turtleneck, which I think is pretty cute. And yeah, TBD. For now, there's no pattern, but maybe at some point there will be a pattern. If not, if you really want to make this and I don't put the pattern out, send me an email and I will just send you my notes. And hopefully that's enough to replicate it. And I can send you the color work chart that I wrote and all of that. So, oh, speaking of the color work chart, this is a tip. I don't know if everyone knows about this, but there's a website called Stitchfiddle, stitchfiddle.com. And it's a free website that is set up for knitting pattern charts. And it's set up to do lace charts, color work charts, cable charts. It has all the sort of functions in there, and the grids are the correct proportions of a knitting stitch. And you can sign up for free on Stitchfiddle and make as many charts as you want. So, no, sorry, there's a paid for account and a free one. So the free one is probably limited. I have the paid for one, but it's very cheap. I feel like it's less than $10 for an entire year. And that's what I use for all of my charts. So pro tip, if you want to make charts, I highly recommend Stitchfiddle. The free version gets you a lot, and even the paid for version is, yeah, like I said, very cheap and just a super useful tool for any knitter. So that is my hot water bottle cover. Okay, I have another finished object, which I am so sad to discover I did not pack that today. I think I just forgot about it and I left it at home. So I might insert a nice photo of it. I might also bring it next time to show you, but I was working on a new sample of my Earthshades cowl pattern. So I'll insert a photo of the pattern. And the original pattern I knit using Spincycle dyed in the wool, just 1 skein, colorful yarn. And the contrast color was just a plain black yarn from Brooklyn Tweed. It was their Peary. And as many people already know, Brooklyn Tweed stopped making yarn, sadly, so you can't get Peary anymore. So I wanted to make a new shop sample in a yarn that we have. And I used the Wild Earth Yarns, the Haunui 4-ply, which is just 100% Haunui wool. And I used the, I think, chocolate color, dark brown. And then I used the color House Blend from Spincycle. So it's a very neutrally brown version of the Earthshades cowl. But I started knitting this back in April of this year, and it just kind of sat there. And so I finally picked it back up and finished it, which was nice. It was actually what I brought for my airplane knitting. The whole cowl is brioche, and there's some shaping at the bottom, and there's a cute little picot edge. And I love doing brioche. I find it so relaxing and rhythmic, and yeah. So I used that as my airplane knitting, and now it is finished. And sadly I don't have it to show you, but as I say, I'll either insert a photo here or I'll bring it next time. It hasn't been blocked yet either, so I may just bring it next time, but that is my 4th finished object. I guess I do have a fair bit to show you. These are all just smaller projects, so it doesn't feel like I have a lot to show. Okay, quick updates on my whips. Like I said, I haven't actually made that much progress on too many things. This should have been finished by now, but I hadn't been knitting very much. So this is my blouse number 1. The pattern is by My Favorite Things Knitwear, and I really like the look of this pattern. I think it's very classy. So all of the edges are just rolled raw edges, so no ribbing. Very simple. And it has negative ease, so it's a more fitted garment. So this is my version, and I used the Wherein Cotton Revive in the color number 4, Sienna. So that's the Cotton Revive. It's a really lovely like chain construction. I really like it as a summer yarn. And I have a whole ball left over. I still have this much of the other ball, so I might not even use the 4th ball, we'll see. But basically, yeah, you've got long sleeves, a little bit of a bell sleeve at the bottom, and then just raw edges everywhere. And this neck is just raw as well. And then the sleeve, you can see I'm very close to being finished with my 2nd sleeve. So I should be finished with this very soon. And I am keen to finish it because I do want to wear it now. It's definitely the weather for it. It's long sleeve, but it's cotton, so it's definitely the right time to be wearing it. So that is my, what is it called? Blouse number 1. And I have also made decent progress on my July socks. So I finished the 1st sock. It's not looking amazing, but I'll put it on a sock blocker next time when it's actually finished, but there it is. So I used this blue color for the heel and the cuff, but not the toe. And I used the Yarnfloozy self-striping yarn for the main color. And then this Retrosaria Mondim Portuguese wool for the toes and the cuffs. And as I say, that's the 1st one, and that's the 2nd one. So I've made really good progress. This is also easy knitting, so I'm sure I'll finish it pretty soon. And then I've also been I've just been chipping away at these like easy stockinette projects. I've also made some progress on my zipper sweater light. So I'll just show you that quickly because this has just been going in the background for car knitting and stuff like that. But this is my zipper sweater light by Petite Knit, and the yarn I'm using is all Yarnfloozy machinist and mohair. So 1 strand of 4-ply, 1 strand of mohair, and the color is Galaxy. And I love this color. And I am finally getting closer to being finished with the body. Like I said, it's just been easy knitting round and round, but slow progress because I've been busy. But that's another one that I'm just looking forward to owning that. I think I would wear it all the time. So brief update on my Galaxy zipper sweater. And what else? I don't really have meaningful progress on a lot of other things. I just have 1 new cast on. I'll just show you that. So these are my November socks, and they are a pair of socks for a friend of mine, and he has size 10 or 11 feet. I've got to check. So these are man socks, and I wanted to make them in 2 strands of yarn held together, partly because, like I said, I feel like I don't have a lot of knitting time, so I want them to be quicker, and also because I still have to cast on my December socks, and I'm kind of cutting it close. So I've got a lot of old stash yarn, stash sock yarn that I'm trying to use up. So I've got this Signature 4-ply West Yorkshire Spinners, self-striping, and then I've got these various shades of alpaca yarns, Inca Spun. It's like an alpaca blend sock yarn. What is it called? Heritage sock. So I've got these 4 colors. So my vague plan is to move between these colors and hold it together with this. So far I've only been using the charcoal held together with this, and this is what it's looking like so far. So it's actually pretty wide. I'm hoping it's wide enough. I think so. Stretchy. And yeah, you can sort of see the stripes, but they're a little more subtle because of the 2 strands. So this is the underside of the foot, which is stockinette, and then I've got 2x2 rib on the top of the foot. I find when I'm not 100% sure about someone's shoe size, doing some amount of ribbing really helps them to just be stretchy and flexible and hopefully fit better. So those are my November socks. I kind of messed up because I actually forgot to cast them on until December 1st. My excuse is that it was still November in America and I was born in America, so kind of still counts, but also kind of not. I kind of forgot to cast them on in November, but I'm still calling them my November socks, so I'll still have 12 pairs for the year. It'll be fine. I mean, I make up my own arbitrary rules anyway, so who really cares? So that is my November socks. I still have to make December socks, and I've got other lingering whips in the background that I just haven't really touched in a while. As I say, it's a busy time of year. I haven't done a ton of knitting. I've also been doing a little more sewing. I'm trying to sew a few gifts. They are, I might show them to you later when they're actually finished, but yeah, I've been doing a little bit of sewing, so that does take up some of the time that I maybe would have been knitting otherwise. But I've got lots of plans as always, and you know, I'm looking forward to next year. I'm looking forward to doing my Frogger finish in January. It's definitely overdue. I have a couple of whips that have been there for a while, and I've got my forever whip, my Marie Wallen sweater, which has been there at this point for 3 or 4 years, which is bad, but maybe I'll deal with it in January. We'll see. And I think for the time being, that's all I had to share with you guys. That's all of my updates on my projects. Yeah, I hope you're doing well out there. I hope you're enjoying the holiday season wherever you are. For us in New Zealand, like, holiday season is the same season as summer, so it's always going to be a little bit strange for me, I think, coming from the US and being accustomed to winter and snow and, you know, a warm fireplace and a Christmas tree. And, you know, we do a little bit of that here with the Christmas tree and stuff, but it's also the middle of summer and you're going to the beach, and it never quite feels like Christmas to me. Like, I love it and I love the summer and I love living here, but it never quite feels like what I think Christmas is supposed to feel like because I'm so accustomed to that cold weather Christmas. So anyway, wherever you are in the world, I hope you're doing well. And I will try to check in one more time, hopefully before the end of the year. So hopefully there will be one more episode before Christmas. But in the meantime, take care, and I will see you again soon. Bye.